Good morning.
Morning, Mel.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Okay, there we are. Well, thanks everybody for coming. It's 8:31, so I think we can get started. Does one of our design review committee members want to kick off the meeting, or shall I? So Rita's not coming today, so.
Um, we don't have the script, so if you could do it, Mel, that would be great.
Yeah, I've got the agenda. I didn't pull open the script, but I can certainly do my best here. So we'll call to order the Design Review Committee meeting for September 23rd, 2025. It's just after 8:30 in the morning, and we are meeting today to talk about land use application Z0208-25, which is the Kaiser Permanente Sunnyside Hospital redevelopment proposal. We don't have any members of the public in our audience, so there is an opportunity for folks to provide public comment on any item not on the agenda, but that will just pass right on over. And then we can get into today's meeting for the Kaiser project. We've got a lot of our team members from the applicant side on the call today who can talk about the project and ask any questions, but I think these folks have prepared a presentation for us just to cover the highlights and at least give a pretty general overview of the application itself. So I think what makes the most sense is, instead of listening to me talk about it, we'll listen to them talk about it, and then we can dive on into any questions, topics. I had a couple questions that I'll ask, but really just ultimately wanted your input, DRC members, on the overall design, considerations of scale, pedestrian sized or pedestrian scale design, and then some architectural design stuff as well that we can talk about too. So with that, I will open it up to our design review or our applicant team. And then let me give you the ability to share your screen as well.
Well, thank you, Mel. And first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to the Design Review Committee for this opportunity to present this project. I'm going to do a couple of quick introductions while we're pulling up the deck. So again, I'm Skylar Deniston. I'm the Director of Land Use and Entitlements for Kaiser Permanente. And with us today to field any questions that you may have, I have Jason Hunt. He is our Project Director. I also have Stephen Meyer. He is our project architect with co-architects, and with him is Prithvi R. Nija. I hope I didn't butcher that too much. He's also with with co-architects as well. And then Jason King with Walker Macy. So he's our landscape architect. So together we're going to try to answer all the questions that you have. So if you can go to the next slide, Stephen, really appreciate it. So I want to do this kind of a quick overview of what we're actually proposing. So today we are presenting the phase one design review, and this will be the first part of a redevelopment of the Sunnyside Medical Center campus, originally constructed in 1972. Now, real brief, this effort is driven by the needs to improve, patient experience. As some of you may know, we have double occupancy rooms at the facility, so we'll be addressing that to single occupancy, and also just address longstanding like functional inefficiencies, better adjacencies with other departments, and just really kind of improve operational flow and care delivery. Now, the phase one includes roughly about a 650,000 square foot hospital facility with 308 beds. However, only 288 of those beds will be operational. 20 of those beds will be shelved for future demand. In addition, we'll have a 25,000 square foot energy center. This is really what supports the hospital, has your service yard, has your emergency generators, so kind of your back of the house operations. And then finally, improving circulation and access improvements. So reconfiguring some of the surface parking areas and just pedestrian connection throughout the campus. And this project is actually designed to achieve LEED Gold certification. So that's kind of where we're hoping to do to align with the county's sustainability goals as well. Now, the future phase two will include a partial demolition of the hospital, in which we will retain the southern, what we call the A wing. This is kind of a more recent addition to the hospital that will be converted into an outpatient medical office building. There'll be a small central utility plant to support kind of that west side campus functions. And then when the hospital is demolished, there will be a parking structure that is proposed in that place. Now, given the multi-year time frame for construction of the phase one, in addition to we gotta have to the commissioning and then really transitioning of that staff over to the hospital, Kaiser Permanente will return with a future design review for really those improvements on the west side of the campus following the phase one construction and certificate of occupancy operation. Is there any questions about the proposal that's before you today? Any questions? Well, seeing none, I want to turn you over to the much sexier part of this, of this presentation. So I'll turn it over to Stephen to walk you through the site plan and elevations. To you,
Thanks,
Stephen.
Skylar. Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for having us at your design review committee this month. We're really looking forward to talking through this project. And I'll be tag teaming this presentation with my colleague, Jason King, for landscape architecture. I'll help kind of set the stage. This development, like Skylar said, is a 615,000 gross square foot acute care facility as part of a hospital expansion project on the Kaiser Permanente Sunnyside campus. And this development is really, it's a reflection of KP's commitment to its members and to patients to establish a consistent, excellent level of care across all of its facilities. I'm not sure if you know this, but KP has this dedication and commitment to its members that says, no matter where you are, if you enter a Kaiser Permanente facility, you will receive the same level of care regardless of what jurisdiction you're in. And this is really made manifest through their facilities and through their designs. This is CO's, my company's fifth project with Kaiser Permanente. We've been very fortunate to work with them on a number of their projects. And this is an evolution of their hospital design tailored to the Clackamas County's needs and to the campus. So we're really excited to talk about this, but I thought before we get into kind of nuts and bolts of the design, we'll kind of orient ourselves with the existing campus. So this is the kind of almost existing campus as it is today. We're highlighting the east side of the campus because this is largely where the development, the phase one development will occur. So as it stands today, the main entry to the Sunnyside campus is via Southeast Stevens Road. So you turn in on Stevens Road and you're greeted by the parking structure. And then you either turn right to go to medical office buildings, or you turn left to go towards the ED, walk in and drop off, or you can snake your way through the campus to get to the labor delivery or the A-wing side of the campus further to the south. The new development that occurs on the east side of the campus will take the place of the supply center and the process center. Both of these buildings, in addition to the security house, which is up here in this top left corner, have all been slated for demolition to help make way for the expansion project. And actually the process center has already been demolished. The parking structure that is currently a staff-only parking structure in the northeast section of the campus, right off of 104th Street, will remain as part of the development. And we are shoehorning this facility, if you will, into this section between all these three red boxes. So this is phase one of the development. The red box delineates the kind of project boundaries. And there are a series of improvements that are happening to the campus, both in terms of circulation and wayfinding, but really starts to open up the campus to the west, while also providing an excellent wayfinding experience and member visitor experience right off of the main entries. So instead of coming in on Stevens for the primary hospital entry, that location will transfer to 101st Street. And right from 101st Street, the visitor or the member can see the main entry drop-off point in the rotunda, the iconic rotunda that Kaiser Permanente has developed as part of their architectural language. as well as the ED walk-in, also visible off of Sunnyside, whether you're coming in from 101st or 104th. That really kind of sets the stage in terms of street presence and wayfinding access for the pedestrian and for the visitor to the campus, while also establishing a kind of more tailored circulation pattern within the campus, where pedestrians and staff and members are encouraged to enter through the kind of central hub of the campus, connecting to the existing medical office buildings on the west side. And while emergency services are kind of coming in on 104th, and service being kind of hugged down to the south on the southern end of the slope. I'm going to pass it to Jason King to talk a little bit about the landscape decisions that were made here and some of the public spaces and public pedestrian paths that are intertwined through the campus design.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, happy to be here and explain our concept a little bit, and look forward to any questions as well for items we don't get to. But not to get into too much background, but like one of the things we're really inspired by on this site is the East Side Buttes, and specifically the proximity to Mount Talbot, and how that's just such a major ecological and visual asset to this site. So that and Mount Scott Creek kind of became a touchstone for us in looking at the design and bringing in nature and ecology to the site. And then also how it fits into the existing campus, you know, the east side and west side blending together as a whole, and then how we you know, touch the public streets, both the edge on Sunnyside and the residential that we're abutting on the east side. So starting with that, one of the things we really focused on the east side was maintaining as many trees along that boundary as possible. We are removing a couple to get some road configuration in there, but keeping as much of that buffering on the side. And then as you move to the south, which is part of the South Site project, enhancing the existing habitat conservation area with new plantings, removal of a lot of the existing non-native blackberry, and then expanding the stormwater facility there, which also gives us the opportunity to enhance that as well with additional landscaping. And then Stephen mentioned around the entire campus, we have a Thrive path. So there's a loop path that provides walking and seating at periodic places throughout the perimeter of the site that you can see. One of the areas we took advantage of is kind of coming down below and having some vistas that orient you directly to Mount Talbot on the south. And then on the northern portion of the site, the new hospital kind of, you know, gives us the opportunity to, you know, it's pulled back from Sunnyside. So we really looked at having enough buffering space along Sunnyside to, you know, provide some separation from the roadway and get some landscaping in that area. Overall, there's sort of, you know, there's the parking that's servicing some of the areas specific to the entry and the ED, the retention of the existing parking structure, give us the ability to kind of remove a lot of parking around the building and make that green space and public gardens and garden space as well. And then we have bike parking at both of the main entrances, both the main and the emergency entrance, and then some more staff-oriented parking that's secured in the parking structure. And then overall, like the campus right now has a lot of lawn. And one of the things we're doing is trying to reduce the amount of lawn overall, replace that with some lower maintenance, lower water use plantings. And then that gives us the opportunity to incorporate more native and adaptive vegetation throughout. We just did our lead calculations for documentation. I think we're at somewhere around 33% open space for this project itself, which is a great, you know, to have a pretty dense building and lots of stuff going on and still maintain that much landscaping is a win for sure. And then the landscape materials themselves are a mix of evergreen deciduous plants, really drawing from that inspiration of Mount Talbot. And then, as I mentioned, as we get into entries and some of those specific gardens that you'll see on here, these are spaces specifically for patients and visitors for the experience. There's also a series of staff-only gardens for the people in the hospital that work there to be able to like have a respite from the day-to-day stress and grind of the hospital and be able to be away from that. So lots of gardens sort of distributed throughout, some on the south that take advantage of the views, some that are more shady, and then, you know, the one in the middle of the hospital that's more of like a cafe walkway. And then all of these have a range of amenities. We have some shade canopies, we have various seating, both fixed seat walls and movable furnishings for adaptability. And then bringing in some unique paving, you know, really focusing on accessibility. Like a lot of the pathways are wider, really accessible for everybody to use. And then really being conscious of providing the amount of lighting that we need to make it safe and secure, but really think about the neighbors and the experience from outside as well. So I will stop there and happy to answer any questions when we get to that portion.
Before we move on to phase 2, are there any questions we can help answer at phase 1? Take a minute to pause, or shall I continue? Sounds like we can keep moving. So phase 2 is really the development, call it post the existing removal of the existing facility. And so namely what this does is clear up this central area that was previously taken up by the existing facility, and what allows for additional landscaping to kind of meet the demand as a permanent ACs in terms of vehicles on campus. We have instituted a surface parking lot, a landscape surface parking lot, as well as proposal for a parking structure. Now, it's important to note the plan can be a little deceiving. This parking structure will be viewed from at grade at the entry and takes advantage of the slope as we work our way south, and will kind of be built into the slope. So when you come in at 101st, you won't be greeted by a parking structure. You'll be looking over the parking structure right at Mount Talbot. And so this is at the same finished floor level as the new hospital. And then continuing that kind of pedestrian access throughout the site, our Thrive path intertwines along the entire campus, connecting to the A wing, which will become the Brookside Medical Office building with its own dedicated drop-off entry. And as Skylar mentioned at the top of the meeting, it will by necessity require its own utility plant to power that building. The utility plant that's proposed is. Sorry? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought someone had a question. Coming back to it, the phase 2 plan will incorporate this kind of westward expansion, tying in the rest of the campus with the language that was established both from a pedestrian and point of view and a landscape point of view and a wayfinding point of view with what the east development kind of established as part of phase 1. And just to note, all these little triangles that you see on the map, these are the different views that we're looking forward to showing you after this plan. So you'll get a view from the development from all these different perspectives. Jason, is there anything you'd like to add to this development before I continue on to the images?
No, I think you got it. I think that idea of that enhanced circulation network was really something we focused a lot on because we want to tie together the new hospital with the rest of the site. And then I think I mentioned the 30+% of open space. I think we're 37 overall campus when we do this build out. So again, there's that kind of big central green in front of the new hospital, which right now is the ED parking lot, but that'll be a great sort of space for big outdoor space. And then again, like really taking advantage of all those southern access towards Mount Talbot. And I think that covers it. We can look at some images.
So the phase 1 development, this is what we will all be greeted with on Sunnyside Road. This is the view to the hospital from Sunnyside Road and 104th Street. The character of the building is really made up of 3 different masses of bed towers that come together using an intermingling of glass and warm tone metal panel. And the metal panel and the glass work together to establish a grid that creates scale through its joints and offers relief through the terraces that are built into the bed towers, as well as what we call a pop-out frame at the patient windows. And on the north side, there is a horizontal eyebrow above the above the patient room, and all along the rest of the building, you'll see in subsequent views, those patient rooms are also include an external sunshade to help provide thermal comfort and reduce glare, and kind of works serendipitously with the mechanical system of the building. This is the view of the main entry. As you come in on 101st and you look left, this is what you're greeted with: a really nice garden and entry plaza, very smooth wayfinding where it becomes obvious where you can drop off your loved one while you go find parking. And we understand that when one comes to a hospital, one is often in a heightened state and needs a kind of cool, calming, relaxing place, relaxing environment to help orient them and to help provide some level of comfort. Coming to a hospital isn't always a pleasant experience. And through our combination of our landscaping and the orientation of the building on the site, we hope to offer that that kind of comforting experience while you're potentially in a not so great situation. And this also takes advantage of, you can see on the right, the wonderful view of Mount Talbot that we have. And you'll see as we continue on that there are some other amazing views of Mount Talbot from the campus. This is just another kind of aerial view of the entryway, so you can start to see the kind of overall approach. You can see the sunshades and the patient rooms, how the character of the building is broken down by scale through the different use of the grid and the material masses that kind of punch in and out, as well as the landscaping all around that helps to kind of situate the building in its place. This is the view of the Energy Center. This is right on 104th when you come down. The Energy Center is a two-story building. Here it looks like it's a single story because it's also built below 18 feet below where we're currently standing, and it's situated nicely right in front of Mount Talbot, and is, while it won't be a regularly occupied building, I think it has 2 or 3 full-time employees, it's not open to the public. It is meant to help provide a nice site element to the rest of the campus, and also help frame the our natural environment around us. I'll let Jason pick it up here, as this image really emphasizes what we are trying to achieve along that east side of our property line with the loop road.
Yeah, and this is looking south, obviously, along that east side. So you get the neighbors on the eastern edge of the site, the buffering that we're doing from that. You see the Thrive path and sort of the landscaping of that, and then being able to buffer the Energy Center from that edge as well is part of the experience. So then as you move, kind of out of frame towards Mount Talbot, that's where the Thrive path will continue along that southern edge and really pick up those quiet spots to be able to appreciate the view of Mount Talbot and kind of get away from the development itself. And this is another one that we really like, how it shows the existing buffer on the east that we're trying to enhance and retain as much of that as possible. And at our recent neighborhood meeting, the neighbors that were there appreciated the kind of attention to how that edge feels as far as their residential edge being so close to the campus. And then you'll see on the southern portion, that's part of the HCA, the Habitat Conservation Area, that we're going to enhance along the south.
What this view also illustrates, which a site plan can't necessarily do, is that the service yards that are provided in between the hospital and the Energy Center are really set down in a hole. And that is really for 2 reasons. One is to working with existing grade. We have about a 70-foot elevation difference from Sunnyside Road to Sunnybrook Boulevard, and we are taking advantage of that slope by putting our services kind of down. And also what that does is isolates it from our residential neighbors to the east, visually, acoustically, etc. And I think with that, we just wanted to say thank you again for your time. And we are happy to go back in the presentation, linger on any images that you would like to look at or talk further about, or answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. That was a great presentation. I think for the purposes of our DRC conversation, we heard about phase 1, phase 2. Ultimately, the project before us really is about the design review for what we're calling phase 1, this new hospital, new energy center. So if we have questions about phase 2, like what's going in the old hospital location with that new parking structure, we can certainly ask, but I think it would make the most sense for us to focus our attention more so on that phase 1 proposal, what we're seeing here on the screen. So I'd love to hear from our DRC members. I only had one real outstanding question that I was hoping we could chat about today, which was one of our zoning code standards that talks about buildings with flat roofs need a cornice or other architectural treatment at the top of the structure. And so, evidently there's no cornice. Stephen educated me on, building design and architectural style. And so cornice not suitable in this case, but would love to hear the DRC's feedback on the architectural treatment, the design that's been proposed here, and whether that is suitable for the scale, the intensity, the style of building, things like that. But otherwise, I will open the floor to our DRC.
I think overall the design is really well thought out and it's very well done. Mel's concern about the cornice, it doesn't meet the exact letter of our code, but I think that the way it's designed with the screening of the mechanical units and the screen up there, it gives enough articulation at the top of the building that it meets the intent of our design guidelines, even though it not specifically meeting it. So I think we can find that acceptable. I was a little confused about why the building is oriented the way it is, rather than being facing Sunnyside and being more rectilinear with the existing buildings. What was the thought behind that orientation?
Happy to address that. We went through this whole effort early on in the project of flipping, mirroring, rotating, trying to figure out the exact right orientation. I'm going to go to the phase 1 plan. The exact right orientation for this facility. We kind of settled on this orientation, I think, for 2 reasons. One is what I had mentioned earlier about providing visual wayfinding for a visitor trying to find the main entry, as well as someone trying to find the ED walk-in. If the building were, say, rotated to be parallel to Sunnyside Road, and we just turn the building in this orientation to the left or clockwise, counterclockwise rather, it would hide the main entry from Sunnyside, and we thought that as being a disadvantage. The other reason is purely practical. We had a critical dimension that we needed to meet, and in the southern end of the zone, we have some liquefiable soil, which posed an issue for our building foundation system. And so by rotating the building, it kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. It allowed us to open up the massing for that wayfinding experience, but also got a lot of our foundation system out of that liquefiable soil to help mitigate the redesign effort we'd have to go through for that foundation system. And that also allows us to not disturb that soil as much.
Great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for the question. Oh, and I didn't mention this, but I think it's an important part of this facility. The energy center is a utility plant that services the hospital. This is going to be an all-electric facility where all of our power for the hospital will be coming directly from PGE, all electric, no boilers, no gas. So it's part of our part in trying to be as green as possible and working with Kaiser Permanente's goals as well as the state of Oregon's goals to get to a kind of carbon zero future.
So is that gonna include a battery backup system, or is there gonna be a generator system as well?
There is a backup generator system that will only be deployed in the case of an emergency.
And that will be powered by diesel or gas, or?
That's powered by diesel. Yeah, three diesel generators that provide 96 hours worth of power in the worst seismic event.
I think it's a fantastic design. It's very ambitious, and my other concern was short term with your phase one. Is there going to be adequate parking on site for visitors and staff?
I could speak to that. Yes, we park our hospital roughly to a ratio of about 5.1 per 1,000 square feet. That's overall for the campus, and this is consistent across our hospital campuses, nationally. So we feel like we're well positioned to have enough ample parking, and in addition to your vacancy rate, you want to have about 85%. So it would be consistent with our other hospital and outpatient medical office campuses.
What is the build out time frame for phase one and then for phase two?
I can speak to phase one. We are currently in review both with Mal and the land use team, as well as for our building permits, and we're also in review for Oregon Health Authority. So all the jurisdictions have agreed to undergo concurrent, simultaneous reviews as part of this development to help speed up the delivery timeline. And the current construction schedule shows construction starting beginning of 2026. This is excluding demolition and ending in early 2029. So first patient would be sometime mid-year 2029.
Programming that needs to occur for the A wing, for the outpatient medical office building for the phase two. So we're still very, very early on what that's going to look like, the program for phase two. So we haven't really set a time frame from when that would occur. So we're still kind of wrestling with exactly when that project will come online.
It's definitely a needed facility here. So.
Thank you, Todd. Anything else at this moment?
I guess I have a comment or question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Oh, yeah. So right where it says Southeast 101st Street, I was wondering, and your entrance, right? Correct. I was wondering if the trees on the new project are match or complement or reciprocate the trees on the old project, so that entrance, that entrance is tied together on both sides.
Yeah, we're not exactly matching, because what's happening on the west side of 101st is a little more informal. It's not like a continuous alley of trees, because it does sort of start and stop as it moves along that edge. So we're complementing it with like the new landscaping and lighting to kind of make a cohesive experience. But to maybe your question is like, it's not going to be like a consistent street trees on both sides. It'll have sort of the more informal on one, and then the new trees on the other side for as part of the new development itself. And a lot of it is like, we're trying not to, you'll see on this, we're trying not to have like a lot of tree-lined streets in general. We're trying to keep more informal landscape clusters of trees as they abut the road, so it doesn't feel like we're just driving down roads, but that you're sort of the driveways are sort of moving through the landscape in that way, and that's sort of reinforced a little bit of what's happening on the other side already. So
Okay. I had some comments about the irrigation plan and the landscape plan.
sure.
Can we go to that?
You'll have to give me a minute to pull up those specific plans. Is there one in particular you'd like me to to,
Just the irrigation, and then I think and then the landscape after that.
one moment, please. I do have them up.
I
just
know
need to go
there's a lot there.
Okay. I'm just going to start on the share again. Okay, so let me go back to here. Sorry, I did have it up. There we go. Can you see L600 now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so please direct me on where you'd like to go to.
Yes, just the next sheet. So if you can zoom in. Yeah, so we have a 3-inch main line here, as I recall, and then you have a 2.5-inch main line. And it seems like right along the sidewalk that goes to the main entrance, the round main entrance. Yeah, there we go. Maybe it's actually, so yeah. So just go to the elliptical circle.
Oh, the main entrance, the
Yeah.
main entrance drive. Got it.
Back here.
So there's a 3-inch. These are 3-inch main lines. There's a 3-inch main line going to this elliptical circle. That'll handle like 120 gallons a minute, I believe. You probably don't need a main line that's quite that big.
Yeah, we can probably have lateral just go over to feed the island. And we, as part of the subsequent permit, we have more detailed irrigation and landscape plans. So we've refined this a little bit from the previous, but yeah, I think
Oh, so excuse me, so you have the heads and the valves and the lateral?
Yeah, exactly. So this was an early, idea to get something in there to give us the idea of what areas we were irrigating and sort of general mainline routing. And I think your point is good, like that, stubbing the entire main line over to feed one island is probably a little bit more than we want to do. But
so you got I noticed I think you're using mainly rotors. And do you know what your static water pressure out there?
Our assumption at our point of connection, because it is a new point of connection that we're taking off the new water main that's going to be installed, and our POC was installed in the first project, so the south site that's installed as part of the south site that's going to feed the entire. I think we're using 115 as the static pressure. The overall system.
Okay, yeah, that'll run your rotors, so no problem.
Yeah, and that was part of it, was we had some variability if we use the existing system, because it was a pump and there was some concerns about getting adequate gallons per minute and pressure to feed that. So that's why we decided to put the new POC for this side of the hospital off of that new water main connection that gave us like a lot more consistent gallons per minute and PSI for the system. And then the only thing that required, and you see on this drawing a little bit, is there's a couple of areas of the existing campus that were orphaned. They got kind of cut off when we do demo. So we're using the new system to keep those running in the short term for areas that are outside of our project boundary. And then when we go to phase 2, we'll demo all that out and build out the next phase of the full system.
Okay. Can we go to the landscape plan? I think it's the next couple. Oh, and then there's
I can go to an enlarged plan if you'd like.
Zoom in
just go to just a couple more, another page. There's a lot of pages, I know. There was some keep going. there were some typos or graphic that I spotted. It was had to do with
Just tell me when to halt.
keep going. Yeah, keep going. I'm sure I know it's in there somewhere.
Now we're into details.
Now we're too far, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm
Do you remember specifically what it was?
just actually I got it maybe here on my
Yeah, great.
but if you just it's page L7.
So on the schedule itself,
Yeah, there's where's this L?
go back
Oh,
L700. One more.
Oh, that'll be this one. The one right before.
there it is. Okay,
Gotcha.
if you really zoom in on the over here on the right,
Oh, okay.
way over on the right, you'll see some go down. There should, as far as my page, keep going. There, on my page there was some redundant text that was overlapping. Maybe that has been corrected. It was just a graphic thing. I don't see.
Yeah, I think we had an error in one of the sheets that some of it was like in the percentages and the on-center spacing was stepping on each other. So it was
Yeah,
and I
that's
think
what
I
it's
think
not there. So it was just a graphic or whatever.
yeah.
Stepping on.
No, and we've this is sort of that beginning level, and as we've evolved the project, we have not for design review, but for the permit and stuff, we've sort of expanded and refined these. But if you have specific questions on plants or spacing or anything,
So you're now going to include the quantities instead of these percentages, I guess, of the square.
yeah, it's a big site, so the final drawings have I would say, I'll just throw a number out. 65% of it's going to be like actual plant symbols, spacing,
Where they are,
on the plan.
spacing,
And then
numbers.
because it's a big site, we're going to take some of the areas and do hatches with plant lists similar to this, but it'll be and even the last iteration of it, because we wanted to show areas that were specific to code, required landscaping around parking. So we did detailed planting layout for those. And so that'll provide more info about the specific plants and how they're being used on the space or in the individual places itself.
Okay, that makes me much happier. I was going more or less. I mean, from this, it's more or less you're asking the contractor to do the design because he's got to. Right.
Well, and what we wanted to do here was set the stage for like the general distribution of areas with some of the plant communities that we wanted to use. So you got a feel for like our design intent and sort of, we're not just applying like a uniform landscape treatment to the whole thing. We are being specific to like microclimate and different areas. And then as we move into more and more detail, we'll give more specificity. And then even the areas we are providing hatches for the drawing, we're doing a lot of like typical plant layouts. So we're giving them a little bit more direction for those areas to say, here's a hatch with a bunch of plants. Here's how we want them laid out in those areas, kind of mosaic planting in that sense.
Okay, great.
Great.
Thanks.
Any other landscape questions?
Seeing none. Chedimir is also on the line. Did you have any questions or comments about the project?
I think it's a great project. I was just wondering on the stormwater management, are you guys going to bring everything to current code that goes to that facility, or is just the new stuff that you're kind of like required to meet and then the old one's going to remain?
I think I heard that question. It was in regards to the existing stormwater facility and how erosion control and stormwater management will occur. Yes, we're breaking up the code, and actually that stormwater management DEQ review for the 1200C permit just finished its first round of review. And everything currently, all stormwater currently goes to that basin, and that basin will be improved and enlarged to accommodate any new development on the campus and brought up to current code, as you say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from our DRC? Seeing a shaking head and some muted microphones.
I think it's a fantastic project, and if there are no other discussions or questions, I'd like to move that we approve this plan as submitted and give them the go-ahead to move forward with it.
I second the motion.
Beautiful. Thank you both.
I
Alrighty.
second that.
Second and third, second the second, perfect. Great, thank you, everyone. Let me just check on our audience real quick. I don't think anybody joined. Yeah, no one's joined, so we won't hear any public comment for the project today. As of right now, we haven't received any written comments or any type of inquiry at this point. So I think notice went out a couple weeks ago, so we'll stay tuned for a little bit longer. But as of right now, oh, my lights are turning off. Hang on.
Well, Mel, as you get your lights back on, we were fortunate enough to meet some of the neighbors. We had a community event on the campus last Tuesday, where 3 different households from 105th came and said hello and saw the same images that you all saw today. We had an opportunity to chat with them about the development, and by and large, everyone was very excited about the project. So thank you for your support and your motion to allow us to proceed. We are really looking forward to contributing to the community in this capacity.
Thanks, Stephen. And actually, I did have one last question that I received from Rita, who's one of our other DRC members who couldn't make today's meeting. She was curious about, it seemed like mostly for phase 2, but I'll pose the question for the whole project about demolition plans, construction staging, and how that might have an impact on traffic on Sunnyside as it relates to construction vehicles moving in and out, any delays expected for cars queuing to get into the site, things like that. So I have to ask.
I will do my best to channel our construction partners. Anderson Construction is the general contractor for this project, and they are a very approachable group of guys. We do have a construction management plan, as you've seen, Mel, submitted as part of the Habitat Conservation Area Permit submission, and that illustrates current staging areas as well as orange fencing for the project. We do anticipate construction traffic in and out of the project area, but everything will be as much as possible be dedicated to 104th and not impede on current campus circulation. And additionally, typical working hours are 7 to 5, and that per ordinance. And any if the neighbors or anyone in the community has any concerns, I'm told that the construction fencing will have QR codes on signs along the fencing, and neighbors and community members can get in touch with the general contractor to express any concerns or ask any questions throughout the process.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry, that was my last question. As for other business items, Darcy Renhard wanted me to mention that we have not yet received any applications for our 3 vacant positions on the DRC. So if you have anybody in mind, please let them know. And otherwise, last item on our agenda is to adjourn this meeting. So thank you all so much for your time today and coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.